Hey everyone, welcome back to another podcast episode of You Only Live Once podcast. I am your host, Addie, and today we are going to be talking about who you were before they told you who to be. We're bringing you back on tonight's episode. Okay. Of course, in true podcast fashion, I have my notes because duh. You'll know when I'm freestyling. All right, anyway. So, who you were before they told you who to be. Within this life, we go through a series of ups, downs, lefts, rights, deaths, rebirths, purgatory. We go through it all in this life. And what is a part of your legacy is how you come through the fire. Okay? Through the wire. How you get through it all. That's what makes life the most colorful and the most memorable. Who were you before they told you who to be? Within that are also your dreams, okay? I'm always going to serve as a catalyst for the most purest form of you, the light that shines authentically and deeply within you. All right? This has everything to do with everything you were interested in, everything that naturally calls you, everything that brings you life. All right. And this has nothing to do with dollar bills. It would be great if it brought you dollar bills, but in woo woo fashion, as I am, we are talking about the gift that was born within you, which is also called your authenticity. It's also called your human design. Everything that naturally makes you, right? So, the original you. I'm sure we all remember when we were kids what we like to do. The things that made us who we were until we got made fun of for it or we were called quirky for it, right? These natural creative influences that were upon us molded and shaped who we are. It may have shaped your psyche. Some things that you were interested in as a kid. Like, I really loved looking up at the stars. I really loved looking at rain droplets on the window. Sure, that trained my escapism to want to daydream and look at every single little raindrop. And then when it would get cold, I would look at every single little itty bitty snowflake, right? Just the attention to detail and how things morph and disappear or how they just change a different form, right? We all have these great, cool, creative things. But that is called our original self, basically. And it's filled with joy. I mention this because as we become adults, obviously, we start changing. We start to let go of these things. We start to say, actually, that is like not it, right? That's like not cool. That's like Miss Hack. Like, what the heck? Right? But our spirit needs the things that will bring our most inner, deepest self joy. Our legacy can only be built when we still have light from within us. That light gives us will. Everybody talking about I need to at least use my free will, but some of y'all ain't using your free will the right way. Some of y'all are just doing stuff to do it, but is it really lighting you up? Are you really being lit up? Are you really serving something within you and sharing it with the world with others? Okay, shoot. That is how you intentionally use your free will. That is how you intentionally start to curate the nervous system for yourself, the vibe over your life. when you start serving this light, when you start aligning yourself within this light, right? So boom, that part. It's really important because a lot of the time what has happened to most of us is conditioning, programming, all these kinds of things that made us start to forget who we were, who we are, and why. Why? Okay. And a lot of the time within adult life, we start to throw these little things at our own self. We start to create these conditions for ourselves. And it metamorphosizes as we get older. It turns into complaining. It turns into complacency. It turns into settling. It turns into gaslighting. It turns into performing, being performative. It turns into a lot of the limitations that we end up putting upon ourselves, you know? And when we were younger, we knew to just follow what just made us curious or just brought us joy, right? I dare you as an adult today to try and go ahead and do that and see what comes up for you. Sometimes we just need to have a curiosity era, right? Where we start learning new things that we've always wanted to learn. You always want to learn how to sew, go to a sewing class, make a quilt, okay? Try to do something that brings you outside of your box or brings you back to your inner child, because there is medicine on the other side of that. There's wisdom on the other side of that. There are things that need to be discovered for you on the other side of that. And I feel like the pursuit of even understanding that or learning that has been lost upon us because we're always trying to just pursue money, always trying to just pursue something within our career or whatever, or whatever. I don't know. And some may argue, yes, that's like their new kind of thing. But I don't know. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Career success is beautiful. Educational success is needed. All of these things are needed. And at the same time, too, the things that bring us joy, fun, laughter, creativity are also needed. Because in order for you to excel and really be who you're supposed to be, you have to keep that inner light alive. And yeah, having a curiosity era or just getting back to that would be awesome. And like I said, we have lost the plot because greed has become the new ambition. Greed has overconsumed us, you know. We call it overconsumption, but it's a greedy society that we live in. You know? And not only just that, learning how to be grateful and also doing something to help others, right? This is such a side note, but I really just want to say this right now. When we are grateful, right? Some people like to be grateful in comparison. At least that it's not me. I'm not going through that. Ooh, I'm so grateful, right? But what are you doing to, I don't know. You know how people put flour in a cup and then they scoop the rest of the flour off? How you are the scoop. How are you skimming the top off, right? That extra can go somewhere else. Like, I can remember a time in 2022, it was summertime, and I would drive to Chicago a lot to go visit my aunt. And it was a long ass drive. And I can remember being in traffic and always seeing homeless people. And it would always irk me a little bit because I knew I went out to eat and I didn't finish what I had, or I had something in the fridge that I could have gave to someone else that I did make, right? So I promised myself the next time I went, I was going to have food for somebody, right, on the street. And I did just that. And I packed extra stuff in there as well too. And what was crazy, along my ride, I didn't see anybody on the street. So I had to pull over on my way back. And of course, there's always going to be a crackhead outside the liquor store on Cermak. I did exactly that. I pulled over and I gave it to a crackhead. Um, And it was like what, 3 p.m. So I wasn't not safe, but hey, I was able to feed somebody. Um, I was in a gratitude moment though. Like I was so happy. It was summertime. Got my sunroof open on my old car, and I was just happy to be at peace, right? And I was happy to give more peace to somebody else or make their life a bit more peaceful. That's how I skimmed off the top. So that was just a little side note I wanted to put in there because we gotta, though our cup is full, we gotta make sure we are able to skim off whatever we can to fill the bottom. This is in the mandalas of heaven as well too. Um, where nature cuts where there's access and fills where there is lack. We are to be like that, you know? And I encourage y'all to do that because within programming and in this overconsumption age, we tend to just like Pac-Man, trying to collect all the dots. And it's, to me, it's sad. And it shows a lot of the time in people's health. But that is a story for another time. That is you know what I'm saying? From what I've seen, okay? So give to others because on a soul level, our own bodies know that if you got way too much and you're not giving, okay. Another way we get into being programmed or just conditioned out of joy or even filling up others' cups is like when we are made to be extremely responsible or to set an example or just like don't be too much, don't do too much, don't express yourself too much. We became super aware of insecurities that already existed in the world before we developed our own personal insecurities. A lot of the conditioning that was put onto us from our parents definitely came from a place of protection, and they wanted to protect you even when they're not there. Little did they know they started the crack in the marble sculpture basically. And that's where a lot of the roots of being conditioned started. And some of their protective tactics are indeed necessary. And other times, we have to now heal through that shit, okay? Of course, as we get older, now we come into knowing how to be performative, okay? A lot of people may have learned that, okay, if I get good grades, I'll stay out of trouble, I get what I want. Or if I get bad grades, now I'm cool with the cool people, Like being performative to get what it is that you want. A lot of adults, they're still in that, okay? We still in there, there they are, all that, okay? It is a constant cycle that a lot of people may not be able to like break out of. And this is all a part of the journey of becoming who it is that you are to be, right? It doesn't all just happen at once, and some people's journeys take a little longer than others. And yes, being performative is also another part of learning who it is that you are, because once you do take that mask off and you wear, it's like, oh, I can't keep this up. Okay, Pluto is retrograde right now. I cannot keep on faking it. Okay, I cannot keep on over promising and underperforming because I didn't want to do it in the first place. Period. Actually, being honest with yourself, being performative is a relationship of lying to yourself and others. But the world is not ready for that because a lot of people, a lot of things, a lot of parts in society would rather everything be robotic and predictable. And it's just crazy. But as time goes on, we're all going to be our real selves, and it's going to be even harder to hide behind a facade. It's going to be harder to hide behind walls that never existed to mold you into something else. Nope. Because soon as the rain comes down, that will also wither away. And the rain could be, you're stressed the hell out. Okay? Y'all, you want to know something? Because I'm in my own little performative era when it does come to work. I get so tired. I get so stressed out. I get so tired to where now stress within me looks like I forget stuff. And I don't realize I'm forgetting it, right? Help. I literally had to start taking off work because I was stressed the fuck out. This literally just recently started happening. I had to take a day off yesterday too because I was dozing off. I asked to be sent home. They did not honor it. I had to put my head down. Okay, like, child. Being stressed out, nobody tells you, like, oh, like, that can show up in different kinds of ways. And being performative will have your ass stressed the frick out. Like, for real. And within me, like I said, I was forgetting shit. I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to sleep. I wanted to keep my eyes closed for a week. It was so bad. Okay. I highly suggest you take time off. Okay. And yes, the greed in me, I was like, I need to have a day. You gonna lose your life trying to keep shit up. Like your breathing gets tense. You just start to not feel like you're yourself because you're annoyed and bothered at everything. You're stressed out. Sure. Definitely sharing that just to like be a little transparent, of course. Um, but of course, yeah. So yeah, trying to break out of that performative, which is hard. Okay, we learn how to be performative to keep our job. If you're in a job or if you're at a place where you're not supposed to be, because there's no way you have to be performative if you are in alignment. We're gonna talk about that next. We're gonna talk about that in another episode. Absolutely. Because alignment is so much easy. Being where you're supposed to be is so much easier than being somewhere that you're not supposed to be. My gosh. Okay. My next point on here. The death of you. Right? Theoretically speaking, of course. When the you that you built, that you created out of survival, that part of you now dies. The illusion dies. It is gone. And all you have left is who you've always been. But oh wait, who have you always been? Do you even remember who you were? That grieving phase, it may take a while. People lose their jobs within that grieving phase. They don't know who they are anymore because their job was who they were. Or now they probably suffered like a body injury. They have to walk a different way. Who am I? You can't work out the same way anymore. Some people become parents in that time. Oh my God, who am I? A lot of new things start to just come within that grieving stage, but alongside that, on the horizon is your new self. And I want you to pay attention to yourself when you do go through that grieving stage. There is so much medicine. There's so much clarity within that because you get to see the parts where they were manufactured by expectations of others, expectations of the things that you might have wanted out of a unaligned place. um, you get to see things way more clear. A whole new version of you just gets to come from that. You get to just see, like, actually, I've always wanted to get back into hiking again, or I've always wanted to get back into this again, or I've always wanted to learn or go back to school for this so that I could be more knowledgeable about this and that. You know, that happens within the grieving stage of, oh my God, that's who I once was. And now who I'm becoming is giving on a whole other level, you know? And that's amazing. So, um, obviously, there's many times where we find out that we have let ourselves go, basically. We left our authentic self all the way over there, farther from us, because we are just trying to become someone new. But that's all within this life journey, okay? That's a part of your legacy as well, too. Like, over here on Yellow Pod, we're not embarrassed about the things we went through. We are not ashamed of the things that we went through. And this is me talking to myself, okay? Because shame is only there to scare your ass into not doing shit ever again. Shame is here to hold you back. It's here to cut off your expression. It's here to shorten your expression. It's here to siphon your expression. And your expression is literally you being who the fuck you supposed to be. It's not good holding shame in you. Okay? And what I've realized is, like, we are the ones living this life. It's not others who put these expectations or anything on us. Like, it's us. And then the relationships that we build or form after that. But primarily, it's us. And they love to say, there's a saying out there, they're not even thinking about you like that, right? When we get all insecure, wrapped up in our own little stories, like, they're not even thinking about you for real. And they're really not. So this is my call to just being a bit more intentional and actually understanding these things. Shame is not a part of you. Okay? Being performative is also not a part of you. Being in those environments where you don't have to fake it or where you're not understood. Sure, you're not for everybody, but, like, I would love in a perfect world to be understood, but of course, not everybody's meant to be understood. Get back to doing the things that you love, okay? Get back into checking things off your bucket list and, like, creating authentic relationships, creating meaningful memories with others, with yourself. And be the version of yourself that nobody clapped for, or nobody's doing all this extra stuff for. Just be you. Whatever that looks like for you, whether you're posting it online or you're doing it in the mirror. Do something that fills up your spiritual cup, something that fills up your internal cup, something that fills up your heart. That is what is important. That is what is needed. That is what is necessary. And that is who you are. Apply this to your career, work, all that. I'm over here still trying to crack the code on it for my career. But I know it exists. There are people within my life where they are living their dreams. And it's, it's what it is. I don't think anything is easy or hard. I just think it just is. There's ups, there's downs. There's ins, there's outs. And You just got to be ready for the ride and have that bandwidth for the ride. This was a very introspective episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Again, this is You Only Live Once podcast because we only live once. Okay, your life is your legacy. Are you filling up your cup and are you filling up others' cups? If your cup is full, okay. Are you filling your spirit up? Are you filling up your heart? What is it? What is it giving? Okay. So yes. I hope you all enjoyed this episode, like I said. And yeah, I will catch you on the next episode next Thursday.